Good morning, good afternoon. We are looking at our agenda for 2/6 Tuesday. I'm going to hide my big head here. I explained this a little bit at the end of class, but just to re-summarize, you're doing assignment 6, slides 1 and 2. We've been looking at expressed, implied, inherent, reserved powers. We talked about federalism. We've been learning about federalism. We'll continue it on Wednesday. But right now, you're going to look at these powers and list them off as instructed in this particular slide. All of the resources that you will need for this are in assignment 6. You've got this slideshow. You've got this slide. You've got this slideshow. You've got. I thought I had it up. I'm sorry. You've got this slideshow here. I'm looking at federalism. Define what are the powers, and what are the inherent powers, and also the pair deck may help you as well. You've got national powers, state powers, concurrent powers. This is even listed here. And looking at the supremacy clause. I didn't even go this far into the supreme law of the land with federalism. This is also listed here. What are some of the expressed powers, implied powers, under the power to borrow money and the power to lay and collect taxes, and then what would be implied from that as part of the necessary and proper clause. The other thing that you're doing is slide 2, which we did a little bit on benefit number 1, and we did this piece on Monday. Looking at the supremacy clause says that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land and the linchpin of the Constitution, holding the federal and state government together into a single government. The Supreme Court is the umpire when conflicts come up. The Supreme Court is the umpire. We looked at benefit number 1 based on the scenarios. Number 3, I'll help you a little bit with. The teachers at Whispering Oak implemented new ideas, sometimes improving their classroom. Crank wanted to turn each desk into a museum exhibit. They didn't appreciate their math worksheets in sand. Mrs. Smith said how pencils roll off students' desks. She glued a cup to each student desk to solve the problems, kept all their pencils in the cup. So these are just kind of silly scenarios, but they're trying to show you how federalism works. Where do these new ideas spread? And many teachers, learning from the mistakes of Crank and Mrs. Smith, implemented new ideas into their classrooms. So now compare the students in Smith's to the individual preferences of those living in the 50 states. So the idea is that the flexibility of federalism, I'm not going to add the flexibility. So federalism allows individual states to make their own laws. We could look at education, we can look at marriage laws, we can look at licensing, we can look at various living wage laws, other laws that work, in certain states, and that other states have adopted them, and even the federal government has adopted, the practices of certain states where they found that certain things work. I'll give you an example. Another example, Michigan, what's caught on lately was having um, an independent elect a group appointed by the state legislature, bipartisan council or a group, put in the legislative lines and the congressional districts, redrawing the congressional districts, a bipartisan committee doing that as opposed to the state legislature, and it created more fairness in congressional lines, so that and state legislative lines, and not so much gerrymandering. We'll get to that later when we get to congressional elections, but that's just another example. Other states have adopted that as well. But the idea is that the takeaway is that you're supposed to look at for this is the flexibility of federalism allows individual states to make their own laws, and those can act as testing locations before they can get tried out as a nation as a whole. I talked about redistricting commissions, and living wage laws. Those are popular. A lot of individual municipalities, even states, adopted them. Now other states are doing it, and now there's even a push for the federal government to do such things. Although progress on that front has been slow. So again, slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. Slide 3 is just an informational slide. Slide 4, you can do that, but we'll do that a little bit on Wednesday when we finish the pair deck on assignment 1, which you can also look at the pair deck on federalism as well. But we'll finish that as a class. on Wednesday. If you've not done the 6 principles or your proposal, you need to do that. But at a minimum, slide 1 and slide 2 should be done for the beginning on A6, the beginning of class on Wednesday. If you want to go into slide 4 and look at the exit ticket, which is kind of the same thing, you can do that as well. Looks like I need to. And then if you miss the informal amendments on Friday, or excuse me, on Monday, when I was looking at informal amendments, that screencast is attached in assignment 1 as well. Okay, see you on Wednesday.